What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Outcast Services on YouTube here, and we're continuing working on our BLAZER build. Now, in today's video, we're going to be installing our fuel injector rails. These are the Holley Sniper EFI set. I'm sure you guys have seen these a lot on the internet. It seems to be a pretty popular go with. I know Phytech is also making a similar system, but everything we're running happens to be Holley. And we're also going to be installing our new fuel injectors, EV1 style Holley injector. So we'll go over how to install those into the fuel rail and then just kind of how this mounting bracket system works. Now, this is an upgraded mounting bracket system from some of the ones I've seen. You can see that it has two holes. I'm assuming if maybe you had a lot longer injector or something, I'm pretty sure this is the height that we're going to need, because the fuel rail itself actually has a little dimple cut out right here so that that bracket can fit in there a little more flush. So it almost seems like it's designed that way. They're offset to sit on towards the inside of the intake, and then obviously these are the ports where your injectors will seat. So what we'll do is we'll put the injectors in each fuel rail. We'll pop them up in there using a little bit of lubricant, and then we'll take it out there to the truck and we'll actually install them on the engine itself. We did the research on the injectors that we think are going to work good for this particular build. Like I said, these are Holley fuel injectors. I have the part number is 522308. It's a 30-pound. So we're going to see how that works out. Worst case scenario, guys, these injectors really aren't that difficult to change, and they're right at the top of the motor by the intake. So if you had to change out to a different injector, or if you get your engine tuned and the tuner's like, yeah, you know what, we're going to have to go with a different injector, they are costly. But if you've only ran them enough to figure out you need new ones, I'm sure you can resell them, no problem, because this kit right here costs about $520 for all 8. Now the fuel rail kit also comes with this fuel crossover line. It's a braided line with AN fittings. It's pretty nice. It can go in the front or the back depending on your setup. I'm not sure how ours is going to fit on there yet. It's a little bit higher ram intake. It's not the real tall one. So this might work out okay in the front. I'm hoping I can get it in the front because I'm going to be using a Corvette style regulator. And I'm not going to be running a return line from up at the engine itself. I'm going to do it down on the frame rail. We'll show you that later, but I'm going to use this hopefully in the front of the engine, right beneath the throttle body. So I'll have my fuel line coming into the first fuel rail bank. It'll pressurize all the way through this crossover and down the second bank. And then on the back of the second bank, what we'll have is we'll have this plug here. And all these fittings come with a nice O-ring. So that'll thread right in here. Oops. There we go. So we'll thread that in, and then we'll just take it up past hand tight. You know, just get it snug. And then that'll be the block off. So the fuel will come in, pressure up, and then that's it. It won't take any more, obviously, until the computer and everything tells it what to do. Comes with all these other fittings. So obviously, whatever setup you're running, and it comes with the O-rings to install on each one there. It comes with the stainless brackets here, the nuts, the bolts, and a lock ring. And then it comes with bolts that'll screw down into the threaded ports on the Holley Sniper intake. So let's get out to the truck and see if we can get one of these installed, and then I'll show you how to stick the injectors in here and go from there, guys. Thanks. Nice. Okay, guys, we're out here at the truck, and as you can see, I've got a little bit of this lube here, assembly lube. I'm literally just going to use a very small amount on the injector. All you really need to do is pop the caps off of the injector. It comes with these little protective caps over each little O-ring. So you can just take and pop these off. You can see that. and then make sure that both O-rings are still on. And then starting with the top one, I'm just going to put a small little dab of this assembly lube on here. I'll just put a little bit on my finger. Doesn't take much. Set this down. Sorry, the lighting's a little, it's really bright in here, but got a little bit of lube, and we're just going to go right around this O-ring. Not wanting to, it's not going down inside the injector. Make sure that just kind of rub that around a little bit. Okay. Looks good. Maybe have a rag nearby. Let me grab a rag. So I want to make sure I don't have any going into the actual orifice of the Chingus itself. So then we've got this. I'm going to place my plugs out for the electrical. They're going to face the header side, not the intake side. And I'm going to take it, I'm just going to wiggle it up into the fuel rail. Just like so. Might have to work it in there a little bit. So then what we'll do is we'll just repeat that process all the way down till we have them all in, and then we'll lube up the bottom O-ring and we'll slide it down into the intake. So let me get that caught up. Set this down here real gently. It's got a nice powder coat on it. Seems pretty durable. The injectors seem to slide in pretty easily. So I'm going to open up all of these, get them all lubed up, and then I'll stick them all in there for you. Okay, guys, I've got the other three here all lubed up and ready to go on the one end. I didn't lube the other end yet. So let me slide all of these up into the fuel rail and get them kind of lined up straight, all looking the same. Maybe take a look at them as you're installing them. Just make sure they don't have any fuzz or dust or nothing. Make sure you're facing the right way. You can face these to the inside. I might even end up switching them around once I go to do the electrical. If it's going to look cleaner, I will. But for now, I'm just going to do this side to side. Look at that. It pops in like nothing. There's two. They take a real nice bite too, man. You really know when they're in there. I like that. These are nice injectors. You know, like I said, they were $520. Really hoping they bring this motor to life, man. We got the Sloppy Mechanics Stage 2 cam in here. So I've never ran that. I'm really excited to see what it does with this old 6.0 truck motor. LQ9 or LQ4, LQ6, LQ8, no. All right, guys, here you go. All four of them are in. So now I'm just going to dry run one time, make sure they line up. Yeah. So those all line up real nice. So right there, it's just sitting in there. So I'll take and I'll lube up each port. And then I'm just going to put medium pressure right in the center, trying to push all four of them down evenly at the same time. So let me put a little bit of Permatex on here. There we go, guys. We went ahead and lubed up the ends of these. I'm sure you can see it's a little bit shiny. Didn't get any on the ends here. Check out that injector. You can see the tri-spray design there. That's pretty cool. All right, so now I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to get them lined up. And I'm just going to kind of work them in. There it went. There it goes. All right. I'm not beating on this real hard. I'm just simply making sure that those got a good seating. You could kind of feel them drop in a little bit. It's not a real dramatic drop in, so it's not like you're gonna, you know, they didn't push in as uh, tight as I figured they would. But man, look at that. So I don't know if you guys can see back here underneath that. Let's see, hopefully you guys can see where my finger's pointing. That's a threaded nipple there, or port, whatever you want to call it, and that's where the bracket will land. And then we'll just repeat that same process on the other side, and then that'll land all 8 of our injectors. See, it's nice because these still move around a little bit, so I'm assuming once the brackets go on, it's going to hold them pretty tight, and they probably won't move around much. So let me get the brackets going, and we'll get those installed here. Yeah, I had to push on them pretty good to get it to seat, and I guess that's it. All the way down is all the way down, right? So I'm going to throw this bracket on back here. I took them back off when I did it just because I didn't want to fight it. Oh, and look at that. Come to find out, we do need to go with the other hole, guys. Yep. And I don't know, even that, the bracket feels just a little shorter than I wished it was. Let me put this nut and washer on, and then I'll grab one of the mounting hardwares and I'll show you guys what I'm working with. Okay, so let me show you guys what I've noticed here. I don't know if you guys can see this bracket back here or not, but this bracket goes from the fuel rail down to that port I was showing you. Well, right now looking at it, there's about maybe the gap of a small washer just underneath that. So what I'll probably do, instead of having to build all new brackets, I'm probably just going to get the perfect little washer that'll fit underneath that, so that when I tighten the bracket, it tightens to it, and it tightens it pretty flat. I don't want it tighten them. You know, I mean, I'm going to put all the brackets on and just go one at a time and see if that'll just compress these down, and maybe that's all it takes to seat them all the way. But I surely don't want to force it. And I've heard a lot of different rumors about the brackets that come for these fuel rails. A lot of guys just end up making their own because, you know, like maybe this injector is too tall for this particular one, or I don't know, because these were all ordered at the same time as a kit, and I cross-reference everything so to make sure that it would fit, and it's so close that we will get it to work. So let me throw the rest of them on, and once I have it on and determine whether I have to tighten them down with the washer underneath or not, I'll get you guys back in here and show you kind of the finished result of what everything looks like. I think you guys get the idea. You're going to lube up your injectors. You're going to put them into the fuel rail side first, and then you're going to bring it over and you're going to land this thing down in place. Then you can see from your side, I'm assuming you can see that, the bracket hanging down. There's just that little gap underneath there. But it looks like maybe by the time I tighten all these down, that might be just where it sits. So let me get the rest of the hardware together. I won't bore you guys with the nuts and bolts, and I'll get you guys back in here as soon as we get it done. Thanks. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump back in here again real quick, and we'll wrap up this video. So you can see right now I'm running my fuel crossover here in the front because I'm going to have a 92 millimeter Holley throttle body coming off, and I think that's actually going to work out better for us. I'm going to run the block off on this side for now, and then this will be our fuel hookup side. I'll plug that for now because we're not ready to hook up our fuel line. They look pretty good. Again, the injectors, I don't know, they're on a little bit of an angle, but they're down in the seat. You know, they go down in there pretty far, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. Worst case scenario, guys, what I would do is I would take these screws back out and I'll just put a little single thickness washer under there, which will hopefully bring the fuel rail back up straight, but still allow it to tighten down all the way so it won't move around. And then when we put these bolts in through the fuel rail, we left them loose until we got these started just enough to where it didn't put pressure on the bolt itself. I could still move it in and out freely, then tighten these all the way, then drew them down tight. And that seemed to work pretty good. So we're making progress on it, guys. That's going to wrap up the fuel rail video. Next, we'll probably jump into the brake booster on our next video and get that all hooked up, and then we'll throw the throttle body on, and then maybe start running the fuel line. We'll put our fuel regulator and stuff in. Got our serpentine belt put on today too. For that, all you do is you put a breaker bar on here, crank it down righty-tighty, and that'll move the tensioner wheel and allow the belt to come slack. Then you can install the belt and go from there, and it'll be on. So thanks a lot, guys. Hit like, comment, subscribe so you can follow this build with me, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.